Liverpool is really strong. This is what they're showing.
You're right about the managers. That's where they make the money when things go wrong. That's the half-time team talks they need to make to get to get things back into place.
And you
again.
mentioned something very important, that they do up to now. They get the results when they are not performing at their top level, which is very important if you want to win, especially the Premier League. So, Jack, another week. What have we seen the last weekend?
Yeah, I just wanted to run through the scores. So we had on Saturday lunchtime, Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0, which I'm very pleased about. Liverpool 2, Brighton 1. Ipswich Town 1, Leicester City 1. Bournemouth 2, Man City 1. That was a surprising one. Southampton 1, Everton 0. Nottingham Forest 3, West Ham 0. Continuing that fine form for Nottingham Forest. Wolves 2, Crystal Palace 2. So another draw. Tottenham 4, Aston Villa 1. That was an exciting game. Man United 1, Chelsea 1. A point for Ruud van Nistelrooy. And on Monday night it was Fulham 2, Brentford 1 in an all-London clash. So some surprising results. Arsenal and Man City losing. No one was really expecting the Man City one. Maybe a few weren't expecting the Newcastle to beat Arsenal as well. So where to start? Let's start with Man City because Bournemouth they played with such intensity that Man City couldn't deal with it. Even Pep after the game said we couldn't deal with that. And I watched some of the game. I watched the highlights because I couldn't catch all of the game. And it was like the other way around. It was like Bournemouth were Man City and Man City were Bournemouth. And they just couldn't cope. And they exploited weaknesses, which will be interesting to see if they continue, particularly down that right-hand side. Kyle Walker was at fault for both the goals. He didn't track back or cover back for the first goal, and the second one he was beaten for pace. So other teams may see this, and it could be an opportunity for other teams in the future.
So you're thinking that Kyle Walker is getting older?
Well, I was talking to a Man City fan earlier, and they said, the first thing they said is, Kyle Walker is finished. Well, I thought,
last year he was exceptional.
Yeah, so I think it might be an overreaction but one of his key attributes is pace.
Yeah,
and he got beaten for pace. He didn't track back. I don't know. I've read some analysis saying that it could be a targeted area. If it might affect his confidence. There might be other things going on there. But look, it's one game. Yeah, it could be just a one. He switched off 2 moments, or that sort of thing. But we're always looking. Teams are always looking for a weakness in Man City. They've been a machine, haven't they, the last few seasons, winning everything almost. So, it could be an area to target. But it wasn't just that. They're missing players. They're obviously missing the Ballon d'Or winner, Rodri. De Bruyne was sort of coming back. He was on the bench, but with injury as well. So there's these players who they're missing. Usually it's not a problem. They got other players to fill in. But I was just so impressed with Bournemouth. What a fantastic performance. And I really like their manager as well. He's used to play for Bilbao, so I'm wearing the Bilbao shirt today in honour.
He used to be a coach in Cyprus.
And he used to be a coach in Cyprus. Yeah. And he's very fond of his time in Cyprus.
And of course, in Cyprus, all the coaches that pass through Cyprus, they are useless.
They don't last very long either, do they?
Yes, exactly. That's why.
They're forgotten instantly. Each match.
We destroy them and we get rid of them.
And surprisingly, he's not been destroyed. He's gone on and done so well. What a fantastic... So what did you make? I bet you were surprised to see that result as well.
I was surprised, but this year, so far, Man City, they have not been as consistent as the previous years, to be honest with you. Okay, it's a surprising result, definitely, but I think it's something that we will see more and more as the season progresses.
Yeah, because
not just from Man City.
Yeah, just all the teams.
Yes, all the teams. Yes,
until
they find the consistency.
Yeah, it's good for the league. It's good to have teams that can take on Man City and beat them. And to be honest, they blew them away. They were fantastic, like I said.
But something that we mentioned before is that this year, these top teams and their players will play I don't know how many matches. is, and I'm just wondering whether it's is possible for a footballer's body to play so many matches
and to maintain that level.
And to maintain that level, exactly. So we might see surprises like this as the season progresses.
Yeah, and obviously the other title contender, the other team we thought would be near the top, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Great for my team. I mean, a few defeats and a few draws. It's been a few games since Newcastle won, so in the league anyway, because there was that really good performance in the League Cup against Chelsea. To beat Arsenal, fantastic. Brilliant goal, but good performance.
At home, throughout the years, your team were always strong. Is the consistency that, if you maintain it at top level of performance, you'll be there and thereabout.
Yeah, that's true. But they exploited Arsenal's weaknesses. I think their midfield was quite flat and it wasn't too creative. They do miss Odegaard. Of course, any team would, but they missed him a lot. It didn't really work with Marino and Rice in there. They seemed a bit too static. They weren't playing in triangles. They weren't connecting. And the wingers were floating around a bit. Trossard was diving into that 10 role. But basically, they were just trying to give the plan was to give the ball to Saka. And he can't do it on his own. He needs support. He needs... I don't know. I just think something.
Yeah, but if you play one-dimensional and you just isolate these one or two players, then the whole team doesn't function properly.
And Newcastle packed the midfield as well. I think Eddie Howe won the tactical battle there. He swamped the midfield, doubled up on Saka, and there just wasn't any space for him. He tried his best. He put in a fantastic ball that Rice should have scored in the last few moments of the game. That one spark that he's got that genius in him, but. You got to, I don't know, there just didn't seem too much fluidity. I think Arsenal seem to have hit a bit of a rocky period. They've gone a bit stale. So concerning for Arsenal fans. So yeah, I think moving on to Liverpool, I think this has been a fantastic weekend for them. It was a comeback. I think what it showed this weekend, because I was watching it, I wanted to watch his tactics a bit more, because we know with Klopp, in all his years that he was there, was sort of the Jegen press, pressing from high intensity and up the pitch and putting pressure on those defenders of the other team to win the ball back and attack. There was a bit of that from Slot, but there was also the sitting back, being patient. Look, they went 1-0 down against Brighton, and that would have been surprising for many fans, especially at Anfield. But they came back strong, really strong.
I agree with you that they do keep pressing all the time. Across the pitch, but there is more structure in their build-up, in my opinion.
They're more
it's not
patient.
just before it was just bombard the ball, and then Salah would get it, and and then something will come out of it. It's more structured the way that this new coach is playing right now.
Yeah,
but I want to see them
more dynamic.
Yes, exactly. I want to see them when they start losing matches,
how they respond.
Yeah,
and
how they respond, their psychology and things like that.
Yeah, it was. I watched the highlights and I watched the extended highlights, and it was interesting to note how it shifted, because you go in 1-0 down, not playing amazingly well, but then bringing on having the courage to bring on more creative players. You took McAllister off, brought Curtis Jones on. And he played him in that sort of deeper role, but he's more creative anyway. He's got the players at his disposal left from Klopp. He hasn't. The only signing he's made has not really played because he's injured, and Chiesa, and so he's been given a group of players, and he seems to have got his tactics into their heads, and also he's not just got them well drilled, but he's got them like I say dynamic. He's got them being adaptable. And they can say, look, we can sit in now. We can be patient. Look, let's not panic. We've gone 1-0 down. I'm going to bring on some more creative attacking players. Don't worry. We'll give it a good go, but we're not going to leave loads of gaps at the back. He sort of tells his players when to attack and when not to. It's not like gung ho from the beginning. But I think Liverpool fans will be pleased, not just because of the results and where they are in the table, being at the top. I think it's also they've retained that culture of it that Klopp developed and other Liverpool teams over the years. Is that attacking intensity, that dynamism, that excitement going
Yeah,
forward.
but you see, as you mentioned before, the added elements that this new coach is bringing into the team. I'm really surprised by him, to be honest with you.
He's sort of come from nowhere, hasn't he? Really,
Not
for a lot of
pleasantly
people.
surprised because he's Liverpool, but it's like he continued from where Klopp left the club, and it's not easy being so popular coach, Klopp at Liverpool, and to just take the mantle and just continue what is going on and build on that. As you mentioned, with not really any additions in the squad. But usually when I judge the coaches and people don't, I mean, nowadays the fans, the supporters get really enthusiastic about when things are starting well, and everybody, they are pumped up, and everybody's asking, have you seen this new coach? Brilliant. And I always say to them, wait until the first defeats are coming, the draws. I need to see that, how the coaches react, and always, even in Cyprus, you say, "Oh, what are you talking about? We're cruising. We are there." And they say, "Okay, wait, calm down," and then I can judge. Okay, the same now with the new coach at Man United. Everybody's analyzing how he plays, how this, how that. I want to see him, how he reacts in difficult situations, how he reacts in press conferences. I read their body languages. You can see whether they're under pressure, how they react on the bench, their body language, things like that. I like to analyze how, up to now, the Liverpool is really strong. This is what they're showing.
You're right about the managers. That's where they make the money when things go wrong. That's the halftime team talks they need to make to get to get things back into place.
And you
again.
mentioned something very important, that they do, up to now, they get the results when they are not performing at their top level, which is very important if you want to win, especially the Premier League.
Yeah. So aside from that one defeat that they had against Forest, they managed to bounce back from that. They've also been quite impressive in Europe. So far so good. I think he's won every away game apart from the Arsenal game. So it's been incredible start for him. How long it will continue, I don't know. Yeah. Let's see what big test they've got to come ahead. But I think Liverpool maybe have found the golden ticket, really. They didn't. It's so unusual for a manager, when Klopp said, "I'm going to leave at the end of the season," to choose when they want to leave. It's apart from Ferguson, it's not really happened.
Yeah, but it looks. Yeah, but in this case, they've done it differently. It looks like the slot was already on the way before Klopp announced that I'm retiring.
He seems to have been the perfect person to come in. He's not come in and demanded loads of signings. I think he's looked at he obviously had a bit of time. He looked at the squad. Maybe he knew.
Yeah, but when you first come into the Premier League, completely different league from any other European league. Okay, you need time to adapt on a personal level, and it looks like nothing happens. It's just, we continue from where we left off last year with Klopp. So this is really okay for if you're a Liverpool fan. I'm sure they are ecstatic with what's going on and how things started with Slot.
Yeah, he's come in. He's done a great job so far. As new managers, on the discussion of new managers, are you happy? Are you pleased that you brought in Amorim? Is the choice? Is he the number one choice?
Everybody's saying that it's going to be the new big thing.
He's the saviour, everyone says.
Well, I don't know the savior.
Well, he needs to save something, though. Yeah.
It needs time, okay? Yeah. At least for this year, 14th position, you can always bridge the gap. Not many differences early in the season. He's coming in the international break, okay? But he needs time to get to know the players, adapt to his way of thinking. As we mentioned in last episode, I'm not sure whether he has the players for the system that he likes to play. So we need whether he will adapt this year with the players that he has until Some transfers are coming in, but it's a new league. It's a big challenge for him. It looks like he has the character from what I have seen in the last few days on the internet. So we'll wait and see. It's early days. I mean, it's not early. I mean, he hasn't even started. The guy. I mean,
but it feels like he has. His life is already changing, isn't it? He's not even put his feet behind the desk at Old Trafford yet, and he's getting the media attention. He's having British reporters going over there already.
I'm sure
it's going to change.
I'm sure he's.
Is he ready for it?
Yeah. Well, he looks ready. Okay, and I'm sure he already started working on the new project that he's taking on, analyzing the players, they feed him information, and of course he has to play Man City tonight, which is this episode will come after his match, but he has another 3 matches, if I'm not mistaken, until he in the international break, and then he takes over. But I'm sure he's still behind the scenes. He's still starting preparatory work, but it's not the same until you start working with the players, get to know them, how they function, how they react to this and that. So we'll see what's going to happen. Man United, the last 10 years, they tried everything. So we'll see.
Well, of course, the last time Man United were in this position, 12 points from 10 games, the last time it was such a low total was the 1986-87 season when Ferguson first came in. So who knows? There's a lot of people comparing it and trying to say he's going to come in. Look, we don't know what's going to happen. But if you were Amorim, would you keep Ruud van Nistelrooy in your coaching staff, or would you say clean break? I need to bring all my coaches in.
He's bringing his own team.
Yeah,
it's a matter of Van Nistelrooy wanting to stay. Okay, so somebody needs to stay from the existing coaching staff to fit the new Amorim as much information as possible.
So maybe you could use him for a bit of time.
When I see teams changing the whole of the coaching staff, and they bring in 5-6 new head coach and his supporting staff and his assistant coaches. Okay, so I don't really understand this. And if that club is not expected to change dramatically as far as transfers coming in, okay, it will take more time for the new head coach. And they cleared it out that he's head coach, not the manager.
Yeah, that's different.
To come in, and especially now because he will need to adapt from the Portuguese league to the Premier League, which is another added factor. It's not like leaving Arsenal or I don't know, Everton and going to Man United.
I suppose the good thing for him is being head coach. He can just focus on the coaching, focusing on the tactics. He doesn't have a transfer window until anytime soon, until January. So
but
he can't bring anybody
that's another big discussion, Jack, in the fact that is he going to have the final say?
I'm not sure he will.
There are different models because now you have Wilcox, you have the sporting director, Ashworth. Are they going to be the ones that is the coach going to say I need another center back, and then they will do the scouting and find him and says this is Jack is your next center back, or is there is another type of process which they say you have the profile, the support staff, the sporting director, the technical directors, the scouting department, they say, okay, we have with this profile, we have this shortlist, 3 players. Tell us which one you want. So he's part of the process.
I think it might be different because I know Ten Hag had a clause in his contract saying he has the final say. He has a say on the transfers.
But it looks like he had the only say in who's coming in.
Well, it's all of the Ajax players that he used to work with, of course. So will there be a raid on Portugal? We don't know. Let's see how that develops. Okay. But it's exciting, potentially exciting times for Man United. Okay. Fresh break.
Right. What do you think about Nottingham Forest? They are third on the table.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about them. unbelievable again. I mean, what a fantastic start. A lot of people are saying, well, similar position or exactly the same points as Leicester City when they won the league. I'm not suggesting they're going to win the league, Nottingham Forest, but they've really been impressive this season. Exciting, a bit like in a way that Liverpool play. They sort of get it out to the wingers and they get it in the box and they've got somebody in there to put it away. And Chris Wood has been fantastic as well, former Newcastle player, a bit of a Newcastle reject really. And then he just seems he can't stop scoring at the moment. And their manager Nuno Espirito Santo doing a fantastic job. Third in the league. I think their defence is really strong as well. They've only conceded 7 goals.
But
Unbelievable.
If you remember last year, they brought I don't know how many players. I mean,
they brought so many players. Yes. But what that's meant is, I mean, people were laughing at them saying, "Oh, Forest, how many players are Forest signing?" But it means they've got strength in depth this season. Yeah. I mean, they made a few really good signings. Elliot Anderson from Newcastle. We didn't really want to let him go, but PSR rules we had to in the end. He's been fantastic. I like Gibbs White. I like Alanga. I mean, you look across their team and they're top 10 players, they're top half of the table players who are really performing as a unit. He's got them playing in his own style and they've only lost 1 game all season. And long may it continue. We want to see different teams up there. Make it interesting. Put somebody, as they say in the UK, put the cat amongst the pigeons, ruffle some feathers, another one. Just put them in there and just see what happens. And I'm not sure, will they be in the top 4 at the end of the season? I'm not sure. But look, they could challenge for Europe. Definitely. Minimum Conference League. The way they're playing.
Yeah.
Really exciting.
And you mentioned Chelsea.
Yeah. And the 1-1 draw.
Did you watch the Man United Chelsea?
It was a bit of a flat game, wasn't it?
It was boring.
It wasn't, they call it Super Sunday in the UK. It wasn't super at all. It was really dull and there wasn't a lot to get excited about, was there? There wasn't really much.
A lot of strong duels and,
possession changing all the time. No real momentum for either team.
Yeah, exactly.
A brilliant goal, though, to equalise. Brilliant goal from Caicedo on the volley. Yeah. Palmer showed some glimpses again of his
Some people say that Onana should have saved it.
They always say that on the near post, but what a shot. He can't. I think even some of his biggest critics, Onana, would say, look, fair play to that one. He could have got down a bit. How can he get down? It was a good shot. I don't know. I'll let him off that one.
Yeah.
I'll let him off that one. He's had some clangers, since he's been at Man United. But actually, this season he's been quite consistent. One of the most consistent players, actually. So,
And I think is in the last few years, the common result between Chelsea and Man United is a draw, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah. I mean, there was that.
So it was kind of inevitable.
That's true. There was. Look, at least he didn't have that situation where Chelsea came back and Palmer scored all those goals against you at Stamford Bridge.
Actually, he had a really flat match.
Yeah, so it was a bit different. It was a bit different to that. Maybe there was a bit of a hangover from that when they were thinking, okay, Chelsea have got all this attacking talent. How can we sort of negate that? But the problem for Man United is all season is scoring goals. I mean, they scored the penalty, Yeah, it was a penalty, but it was bad from the goalkeeper. I don't know what he was doing. He should have. Hoyland was clearly going away from goal. He should have pulled out. But that's so frustrating as a fan when you see.
Yeah, but if you're a goalkeeper and you commit yourself, then
9 times out of 10 he gives away a penalty, don't it? They don't pull their hands back.
Yeah.
But Man United goal scoring is the problem. Amorim, when he comes in, it's going to have to be sorting out the attack. Maybe you could keep Van Nistelrooy on as a striker coach. I mean, that might be quite helpful. Because it's not been good.
I was pleasantly surprised again by Casemiro. He had a positive influence from a really dull match. He's like he has, he's a new player in the last couple of matches.
He was a bit like the quarterback, wasn't he? Feeding the ball into the areas, into those corners.
And there's this video clip that he was shouting to Garnacho because he lost the ball on the final third and he was not tracking back, and he was tracking back and he stopped the ball and he got a yellow card and he started shouting. So he's
he might have lost that yard of pace. He's still got the passion for it, that's for sure. He seems quite happy at Man United, quite committed, like he really cares, and that's the way he plays, doesn't he? He does play like that with his heart on his sleeve. How long he can last, the problem again is, because I've been thinking about this, new coach coming in, are there players that he won't fancy? He doesn't suit his style. Where would Rashford play in this new system? You know, things like that. Garnacho, will he be a wing back? You know, in this new system.
Actually, the big
about.
talking point is where Fernandes is going to play.
Fernandes, yeah.
We're getting back to Man United all the time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's just because there's so much soap opera going around that you could talk about it all day. That's why you have a dedicated podcast about them. But Chelsea, good. Yeah, Chelsea probably be disappointed because Man United lost to worse teams than Chelsea. Chelsea got a point they might have been expecting as the favourites to go there and win. So yeah, but actually I want to also touch on another interesting performance from the weekend. So obviously Tottenham 4, Villa 1. Villa took the lead, and then
I watched
the Spurs came back. Yeah, they came back strong, didn't they?
Yeah, I watched that match, and
me too.
And in the second half, I was really surprised by the big change. You know, it's like a completely new team was on the pitch. Spurs. It
reminded me of the start that Ange made in his first season, last season, when they were doing that every week. You know, blitzing teams and just all over them, attacking from all angles. Brilliant from Son. What a player he is. He put in some fantastic crosses.
Yeah, but this year they are consistent. They last year they started really well, and they took the momentum on. But this year they are up and down. It's just, you don't know what to expect from them. But it was really a good performance.
And surprising because Villa, you know, they're one of the teams in contention, definitely for the top 4. Yeah. And to then lose the plot, you know, after going 1-0 up, half time. What was Emery saying in the dressing room? I think maybe he made a bit of a tactical error there by taking Rodgers off. Morgan Rodgers, he was the goal scorer. He was that link. And I think he took him off and brought on another striker. He brought on John Duran. I think that may be unusually for him because he's quite tactically adept. I think it was a little bit naive. Putting 2 strikers up there was that gap. Tottenham have a strong midfield unit, you know, across the whole of the pitch, and that gave them a bit more space to link up and to exploit those spaces. Whereas there was a big gap between the midfield and the strikers, and I think if you look back, you'll notice that there's a big difference in the heat maps of the players. And yeah, and as you saw, they got punished. There was 2 or 3 goals in the space of a few minutes, and then it was just all Tottenham. And they could lose next week. Yeah, but we just don't know with Spurs, do we?
But when these things happen, then the psychology changes. So it's but these matches is the reason why we love the Premier League. You don't know what's going to happen.
It's really good that this is happening. We don't just want to see predictable results every time, do we? We want to see teams in games. We want to see, you know, excitement.
Even though in the last few years, you know, more and more tactical situations are coming into the matches. We still see all these upsets or these, unlike any other leagues in Europe, and that's why it's so exciting. So before the match, if you told us, if you're sitting here, say, okay, Bournemouth is going to win against Man City, we say, forget it. This is non-starter. So it's
no
true.
One was expecting it.
It's true.
Yeah.
But these things doesn't happen when a small team in Spain plays against I don't know. Barcelona.
Barcelona, Real Madrid.
The current Barcelona team.
Yeah. You surprised me a couple of weeks ago with predictions, so I'm going to flip it back round to you and ask you for your predictions for this weekend. Okay? Yeah. I'm going to get you back for that. So, right, I'm going to go in order. So, Wolves against Southampton. Who do you think is going to get that one, or what do you think the win, lose, or draw?
1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Okay. I'm going to say 1-0 to Wolves. I want to see them get a win because there's 2 teams.
It looks like Southampton are improving.
And they got their first win last week. Yeah. So, but it's at Wolves. It's at Molineux. So let's see. I'll go for Wolves. Next one, West Ham against Everton.
Oh dear.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah. That's for both teams.
I'm going to go for a draw on that one.
2-2.
2-2, another draw. 1-1 draw, I'm going to say. Okay, also Brentford against Bournemouth, 2 of the smaller teams in the league.
1-0.
1-0 to Brentford, yeah?
They're strong at home.
Yeah, but Bournemouth are flying, but maybe more at home than away.
Maybe they're flying. They're still flying.
Yeah. Hopefully
they need to get that.
They're probably worn out from that intense pressure. I think. Yeah, I'll go with 1-0 Brentford as well. Actually, I think they're quite strong at home. Well, I always fancy Brentford at home. All right, next one, another all London game for Fulham. So it's Crystal Palace against Fulham at Crystal Palace.
Oh dear. 1-0 Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 Crystal Palace. They beat Spurs at home, and you were thinking, oh, I'm not sure about that prediction, but they did it, and they're always strong at home. I like, they've got passionate fans there, so I'm going to go with that as well. Okay, and in the late kickoff on Saturday, Brighton against Man City. So another South Coast trip for Man City.
I think it would be away win to City 1-0.
Tight, a close one. Yeah. I'm going to go very close. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to go for a draw in that one. I just think a night game under the lights,
But the thing is,
be tricky again
with City, when was the last time that we saw them lose, for example, 2 matches?
And it's after Champions League as well. So I always think that's tricky for teams.
Champions League is a Tuesday match.
Yeah, true. But let's see. It depends if there's anyone who gets injured as well.
From Portugal, what is 1.5 hour flight? So
yeah, I know. They shouldn't be making excuses. It's quite a short trip. It's not like they're coming to Cyprus or anything, is it? Yeah. Okay. And some big games also there. So there's even later than that. So that's the evening kickoff. The nighttime kickoff is Liverpool against Aston Villa. It's a tough one. Liverpool at home.
1-0 to Liverpool.
1-0 to Liverpool.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, you don't want to predict that. I was surprised you did that. Yeah, 2-0 Liverpool I'm going to go because they've just been so impressive.
At home, especially at home.
And at home.
Anfield.
Although Villa should look, I mean, 2 tough games for Villa. Obviously, they had Spurs away. But yeah, I'm gonna go for Liverpool. Okay, and then on to Sunday. Your team, Man United against Leicester. At home to Leicester.
1-0.
When it all tight. So it's just a 1-0 win. For
we don't score. We don't even score. So if we score 1, we'll be happy.
I think Man United will win that one. I think Ruud van Nistelrooy is. He seems to be a good influence. And they like him running. So I'm going to go.
He's passionate.
I'm going to go 2-0 Man United.
He's really passionate.
He is passionate. I saw him celebrating when he scored that goal. Oh, it's a tough one. This is another tough game. So Nottingham Forest. Against Newcastle.
Oh dear.
At Nottingham Forest.
At Nottingham Forest. That's a really tough one. A small pitch. Yeah.
Fans on top of you. Fantastic performance.
An old English ground.
Yeah. One of the best that's still around. One of the originals.
Yeah.
What do you think for that one?
Because you have not been consistent. You are up and down. I go for 1-0 Nottingham Forest.
Ooh, yeah. I really don't like going against my own team. I'm going to go for a draw just because it's my bias. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, a really exciting game. Maybe draw. Newcastle taking the lead and then Forest coming back because they've just been really good. Okay, and there's 2 more games. Tottenham against Ipswich.
Tottenham against Ipswich. 3-0.
3-0. Yeah, you would think it would be that. I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs. Yeah. Okay. And the final one, rounding off the weekend, is a fantastic game. Again, Chelsea against Arsenal.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Local derby.
Yeah, another London match.
I think it would be 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal have been in a bit of a mini crisis.
And they need to bounce back.
They need to bounce back. I think I'm just seeing Palmer. I'm just seeing Palmer in my head. I can see it. I can see him being the star man. I'm going to go 2-1 to Chelsea in that one.
2-1 to Chelsea.
Yeah, because
you might be right.
And they're at home.
We'll see.
But yeah, so that's coming up next week. So we will discuss all that next week, won't we?
We will discuss all this next week. I will keep that, cut this part of the video, and
see who's right. We'll have to cut the bit where you predict Liverpool to win. Okay, thank you very much, Nicos.
Thank you.